omulafu omulungi kwaniza nnyo nakyo sinzira okubeera nga weekuumira ate ku telefone yaffe n'eŋŋanzi nga bulijjo kaba kadde kennyini mulindwa ziba essaawa 3 paka ssaawa 4 ezibeera ez'akawungeezi tukayita oluusi kawoza masiga nga bulijjo program ensi y'ebyewuunyisa kabisomba basajja kabakamba amaze okutula mu studio nga bulijjo nenkutuusaako emboozi enyuma ate ey'ebyewuunyisa ate ng'emboozi otanawonyeza gisanga wala okujjako ku Adonai Television nga tukuweereza tusinza wano Seeta ku Cathedral ew'omusumba Henry Israeli Nyanzi Salongo nga otusinzira kati mwenna abali mu diaspora mbalamusaako nnyo program ebeerawo essaawa ziba 3 paka ssaawa 4 ez'akawungeezi era ng'olwaleero bamaze okutuuka nga ate nja kutabika nga bwe njogera ate olw'aba natives Oluganda ate mmwe abali eyo nja kubakyusizaako nammwe ate twogeremu ku Luzungu nkakasa nti eyo muli bulungi nnyo tubeebaza okubeera nga mwekuumira ku telefone yaffe eno eŋŋanzi Adonai Television. Kale gwe nga olina smartphone yo nga osobola okubayo eddakiika zo 3:58 kikola nnyo amakulu n'ogenda wali ku ssimu yo n'ogenda ku Google Play Store n'oteekamu AdonaiTv Seeta oba n'ogenda ku Facebook page yaffe n'oteekamu AdonaiTv Seeta. Page yaffe eyo ojja kuba olaba programu zaffe ennyingi ennyo ndulundu okuva Monday paka Sunday. Programu ez'enjawulo ezinyuma bwe zityo. You guys in the diaspora, ladies and gentlemen, who are viewing our channel, this is Adonai Television, and we are broadcasting from Kampala, Uganda, and we are stationed at the Seeta Cathedral, and our vision bearer is Pastor Henry Nyanzi Salongo. You guys feel free to subscribe, to comment. You can even link up with us via the phone numbers that move along the scroll bar on our television. The name of the television is called Adonai TV Seeta. Why do we put Adonai TV Seeta? To differentiate our TV from the many televisions using that name around the world. So that's how we are differentiating it. Go to your smartphone. You can subscribe. If you want to get us faster, Google Play Store, then type in Adonai TV Media Connect or Adonai TV Seeta, you'll get us. Kakati olwaleero tuli program ensi y'ebyewuunyisa nga ntandikiddewa. Olwaleero njagala ntandikire mpozi mu ggwanga erya China. China eyo eri mu katuubagiro mpozi ngazina n'ow'enkufu nga China eyo eyinamu ekizibu naye nga kyekusaidi yaabwe kibakolera nga China essaawa zino America nga bwe muze nkugamba America yeralikira nnyo China. America mu kweralikira China olw'okuba nti kati ye super power ey'okusatu ereetedde Abamerica obweralikira olw'ensonga nti waliwo incident ya balloon that balloon that has been hovering or flying over United States of America at a distance of 60,000 feet over the American government, that country. Kati balloon eyo yaleese obuzibu bwe buti nti China ekozesa balloon okukola. China is using different methods of spying against different countries. One of the methods China is using those balloons. They monitor them via automatic. They are semi-piloted, automatic pilot balloons. Emu bagisindise mu America endala negenda South America. Baba China, for them the Chinese are claiming that they are trying to study weather patterns in the world. And the big question is, why don't they fly them over their own country? That's the big question the Americans are asking themselves. Era bawunzise nga balina okugikuba. After some time, Kuba President Biden yadde agamba there is no problem with that balloon flying over their territory. But after consultations with some generals in the Pentagon, they said, no, the Chinese have got a very, very, very unique way of spying over other countries' technology. So they were obliged to shoot it down. Kati n'eri endala eri South America naye ekyamuvinga eyo tebagiteddeko nnyo ensi ezo tezakiteddeko nnyo mulaka bo bakitwalanga ekinomo ate bo tebali they are friends of China. Naye kati bw'otunira America essaawa zino eri mu kabbinkano ne China. China is one of the world's leading economies, and remember, for you our viewers wherever you are, for now China is the leading trading country in the whole world. And remember, all countries now from Africa are trading with the Central Asian countries, and that is a very, very big challenge to the American people. China, there's what we call the power shifting. Actually, power is shifting from the Americans to Russia now, to China, and those countries in Asia. Kachobala nti essaawa zino China eri mu kabbinkano ne Taiwan. Olwokuba nti China kati super power erina amaanyi. China etedde sente nnyingi nnyo mu byokulwanyisa. China is building its navy. China is building its drones. They are building their tanks. It is now a very powerful weapon making country. Kati nayo yenywezeza China eyo. Kyobulaba nti etunuulidde nnyo southern China, southern China Sea, etunudde mu Taiwan. Awo America weyaviiriddeyo, era n'olugendo lwa Minisita wa America olw'okugenda mu China lusazaamu olwa ballooni eyo. It was a very serious incident. The Americans are arguing that China yayisa weeyina okukoma, nti yayingira mu space yaayo nga tebagiwadde lukusa. Era ekyo is one way of China showing the Americans that we are about to overtake you. Wedde mu finances baba bayisa nga kati bajja babasoomooza nga obuzibu buli ku Taiwan. Taiwan kizinga kya China, era China otwogera kati etandise okuzimbawo ekizinga ekiri artificial. For now, our viewers wherever you are, the information that I'm getting is that China is now constructing a very huge artificial island near Taiwan, and wants to put it as an air base where they can launch their missiles and put their military soldiers there on alert for any attack from the Americans, because the Americans have now decided to go back to Philippines. Why? Because they want to counteract that fear of the Chinese going to war with Taiwan. China is claiming that Taiwan is their territory, and the Americans are saying that Taiwan should have their own independent governance. Nakati olutalo luli awo, gomulafu omulungi wa Adonai Television ebyo sinza okulaba America, oli Central Asia, oli mu Europe, oli Africa, oli Canada, oli South America, oli mu bizinga byonna byonna mu Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, nga gye muwanga lya mwena nga abategeera olulimi twogeramu. Njagala okukasa nti China essaawa zino etedde nayo ensi ku bunkenke. America lwaki yazzeeyo Philippines? Why did the Americans decide to go back to Philippines? Because they had air bases there, and after some time they had taken back their soldiers to United States. Now they have signed an agreement saying that they bring back their air bases and their soldiers to Philippines. The reason is very simple. The Americans have interests in Central Asia. And their interests are in Japan and Taiwan. Now, they want to use Philippines. They want to use Philippines as a starting block where they can deploy their latest missiles, latest technology, the M1 tanks, the drones, the Abrams tanks, such that they can do the surveillance and monitor exactly what China is after. And that's why they went back to Philippines. They want to counteract. They want to spy. They put it correctly that they were going back there to monitor China. You know, the Americans don't want countries that infiltrate their area of interests. The Americans are very, very strict with their interests. So they are going back to Philippines to rejuvenate their bases, air bases, such that they can deploy their surface-to-air missiles, their drones, their tanks in preparation to confront any Chinese invasion of Taiwan, because there are indicators of a war looming in between these two countries, Taiwan and China. And remember, America is the one that is selling arms and planes to Philippines. So kati akakabinkano kali awo. Alwe nkujjayo eyo kutwala kabinkano akalala omukyayina nga ne ballooni azisindise mu bwengula bwa America nga abasunaasuna. That is provocation. Nkuzaayo Palestine ne Israeli. Which nga tennaggwako gye tukubya amabega. Waliwo ennyonyi eyakubiddwa ka aircraft nga kayingira mu bitundu ebirimu amagye ga Israeli. Jukira balwana eruddaawo olutalo lw'amaanyi nnyo Abapalestine n'Abaisiraeli okuva omusajja ono Netanyahu lwe yakomawo balwana. Ekibalwanya those occupied territories. Abaza followinga history w'entalo z'Abaisiraeli n'Abapalestine. Waliwo ebifo balwanira bali baclaiminga bifo byaffe bitukuvu. Even the Israelites the Hebrews are claiming that these are their genuine spiritual or worship places. Kati balwana naye nga awo nawo kuttingana kungi nnyo bazzemu mu intifada abadde bajja followinga politics wa Middle East. Embeera si nnyangu nnyo ng'Omuyisirayiri ate n'Omupalestine bongedde okuttingana ennyo nga kirabika ate olutalo lwongedde okubatawanya. Naye nga kyemmanyi nti emabega w'Abayisirayiri eriyo Omu-Irani, kubanga n'Omu-Irani naye asudde enkundi essaawa zino atedde Omuyisirayiri ku bunkenke. Lwaki? Nti like I have been telling you that Iran is just a few 3 to 4 years away from making a nuclear bomb. And this is very, very, very scaring to the Hebrew government. The Israeli government is very scared of Iran possessing a nuclear weapon because of what happened to them during the Saddam Hussein era, where Saddam bombed Tel Aviv using missiles, Soviet-made missiles, Scud missiles. So Israel is scared of Iran, and Iran is developing very fast. Iran has got some of the best technology and some of the best engineers in the world. Abasajja abo balina ba engineers abalungi ennyo Abayiraani abo, ate bantu bagezi nnyo mu teknologiya. Atujja kubalaga abasajja abazze battibwa Israeli, abakozi ba bomu. Ate jjukira nti ba Hamas, Hezbollah, bonna most separatist groups in the Middle East, most of them are being sponsored by the Iran government. So Israel is scared of those guys. They have got the kamikaze drone. They have sent some to China. They have sold some to Russia, North Korea, and they are very effective, those kamikaze drones from Iran. So Iran is now also pushing its program faster, such that they also have a nuclear bomb to counteract Israeli threats. Kati awo ne babeera awo nabo bali awo Israeli, Iran, Palestine, naye nga tuba tukyali awo ate musisi earthquake yayiseeko ettaka ne Syria n'ayonoona ebintu bingi nattiramu n'abantu. Waliwo omusambi w'omupiira munaggana bamuyita Asu, ndowooza yabadde naye agenza okuzannyako omupiira erudda awo, kirabika yabafiidde mu woteeri ettaki. Ate nga tujja mu maaso awo kwogera lwaki ensi zaawo, tujja kubabuulira lwaki ensi zaawo Kazakhstan, Turkey, Syria n'ojja ne Beloti eyo zikubwa nnyo musisi. Naye nga basically those countries most affected by earthquake, when you study their geology, the geology of those countries, they sit on their plates. There's what they call plate tectonism. Kati zituula epicenter okuyita ziri ku rift. Tujja kubiraba nga tutunulira oceanography, geology in the near future ku programs zaffe zino. We shall be looking at a little bit of geology, study of rocks. We shall look at oceanography, a little bit of we shall look at the earth science in general, and we shall be observing the way the mantle down there and the rocks formation. So kati ensi ezo ziri nnyo mu kkubo lya musisi kwe zaatuula ku plate eyo ku Rift Valley, so eri prone to earthquakes. Ate n'ekirala ekisinza okuleeta mpozi musisi oyo bye byokulwanyisa ebikubwa. One of the causes za musisi oyo, ebyokulwanyisa kati n'ebyamaanyi ebikubwa mu ttaka ne mu bwengula, naddala bomu ezo zikosa earth structure ne zireeta waves ne zitriggeringa off seismic waves, musisi n'abeera nga ayita. So kati olutalo olwo kati ng'oluli Ukraine lwa mutawaana nnyo, lugenda ku offsetting ebintu bingi. Mujja kulaba zi tsunami, mujja kulaba global warming olw'okuba nti bikozesa byamaanyi nnyo, naye ebyo bigwa mu category after effects of war on human development and wildlife. Ebyo tujja kubiraba mu maaso awo mpola mpola. So kati omusisi naye yayise naye ezo za natural disasters, naye nga oggyeko natural disasters mulimu ezo man-made. Kati ng'olutalo lwa Ukraine lulimu ebikwanyisa by'amaanyi bingi nnyo bitaataganya earth structure, so ne bi offsetting ebyokulwanyisa ebyo. Remember, some of these bombs and missiles have the effect of shock and wave. They are in wave form, and they exactly behave, after hitting a target, they behave like the seismic waves of the earthquakes down there. Kati triggeringa off nabyo earthquakes. Tujja kubira mu maaso awo. Kati awo nkujjeewo njagala okulaga nti abo nabo ssaawa zino bali mu losses, bali mu kufiirwa. Kati njagala ate nkutwale sayidi eya Ukraine ne Russia. Ukraine, Russia standoff bawezezza omwaka nga balwana olutalo nga lugendera mu maaso, okufa kungi nnyo. There's a lot of losses on either sides. You can't say that the Russians have lost so much that the Ukrainians have not lost so much. Of recent, mbadde mpuliriza ku mawulire nga following some of these returned dead bodies of soldiers. All over the place is blood, tears. I know so many mothers, fathers, widows, orphans, because of that war. In the 12 months, Russia has lost so many of its combatants, and Ukraine has also lost so many vehicles destroyed on either sides, and so many buildings, apartments, bingi babyonoonye, schools, hospitals, farmlands, hectares and hectares of wheat, barley, maize, sunflower. I remember I've also been telling you that Ukraine is an agricultural country, both agriculture and manufacturing. and most of these industries have been hit by the Russian army. Naye nga, why are these people fighting? Abantu bano balwana lwaki? Omulungi atulaba. Abantu bano kibalwanyisa kigazi. Kirimu history mungi. Abantu bano gwe yakatwenga ku AdonaiTv, naddala mmwe abaana students of history all over the world. These programs on AdonaiTv, despite the fact that we are broadcasting from Kampala, Uganda, but I know we are reaching a very huge audience all over the world. And take this, Ukraine and Russia had a pact. They had signed a pact. It was like a covenant in 1991. The late Mikhail Gorbachev made a very huge mistake, and he led to what President Putin called the Russian coup d'etat. Russian coup. It was a coup. Erawo. That is when, in 1991, that is when Union of Soviet Socialist Republics ceased to be USSR, and then it became defunct or broken down Russia. Our Ukraine we are virako. Naziri ensinga Poland neziva mu kintu ekyo zilavia oba Latvia nezivaamu zalimu ensi nnyingi awo ezaali z'abakomunisiti. Kati Russia egamba twalina endagaano ne Ukraine. Mu biseera ebyo Zelensky yali president, waliwo president abantu tujja kubamenya mpola mpola abaaliwo. Kati endagaano eno bagimenya ey'obumu ey'obwa Sseruganda. Kati essaawa zino ekibalwanya nti Ukraine eyagala crossing egende mu NATO, joining the European Union. Actually, Zelensky is pushing for that. He feels that Ukraine should join the European Union or NATO. But China kyerabidde nti byonna obugagga bwa Ukraine, ensi zonna ezaali mu Warsaw Pact eyakolebwa Poland, zonna zaali accountable, zonna zaasonda ku bugagga obuli e Ukraine. Remember, they were under one umbrella, Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. This was a union of socialist republics under Moscow. Kati awo wava obuzibu nti Putin ye agamba, his argument is Ukraine breached a contract, a covenant that they had made and was signed under mutual understanding. Yensonga lwaki abantu njagala nnyo mutegeere lwaki bano bagenda mu lutalo. Ensonga endala, the Russians are fighting for the independence of those Russians who are in Ukraine, who have been mistreated. The Russians are arguing that also they are fighting neo-Nazism. The Germany, the Russians cannot forget how the Germans treated them in the Second World War. And remember, Germany is pushing for their Leopard tanks to go to Ukraine, and Poland is hesitating. Why? Because Poland is neighboring Russia. Ukraine is a neighbor to Russia. They share borders. And remember, the Germans are like they are revenging on Russians. And the Russians are like they are revenging on the Germans. So kati gwe atunulira olutalo olwo, you don't look at that Ukraine-Russia war like Russians are aggressors. In fact, the Americans are the aggressors. Why? The Americans want to take Ukraine as their colony, such that they bring their air bases to spy on Russia. And that's why Russia is taking all it costs. Like Putin said that whatever the cost, they will not retreat or surrender. They must be in Ukraine to fight for the Russian people. Remember, those people who have been following Russo-American relationship. The Russians have never been friendly to Americans. For us who have been following the geopolitics of Russia and America during the Cold War, we expected that war. We predicted it because Ukraine yagenda n'amakolero mangi ne factories ebyokulwanyisa nyingi ne universities nyingi nga Russia yateekamu ssente zaayo. That's why you see, even in the European Union meeting, some countries were hesitant to comment on whether they will send arms or troops to Ukraine, because they know at one time they will need Russia. Russia is a producing country, erina oil, erina gas, esobola okusensiza Europe. Ate remember, tuli bali mu snow, bali mu coldness, kati bw'obajjako gas, ate kati nga bali mu coldness, oba obasse baba bajja kulwala. When you remove gas from Ukraine and those other countries that fear to join the war directly, you'll be letting these people to suffer from hypothermia, that disease that attacks the lungs due to coldness, and people freeze and die. They suffocate due to coldness. So kati ekyo naye ensonga nkulu nnyo abarasha abo tebabeeranko mikwano gy'Amerika, bakimanyi nti bano bajja kujja. And remember, the Russian culture is still intact. Nti Omumerika bw'anajja ajja kujja, when the Americans come, they'll come with their vices: lesbianism, homosexuality, democracy, which is not very democracy, violence, balina that music owaabwe oyo, violent music, and their culture, nti bajja kugireeta mu Ukraine, fusingemu mu mindset z'Abarussia, eveemu seeds of violence. Nga bw'olaba America batandise okusiga violence mu Iran. Iran kati eri mukatu okwegunga kungi, naye ng'emabega eri Omumerika ayita mu universities. America yegugunza abaana abo, kati Iran is executing a good number of its citizens just because the Americans are trying to ignite demonstrations around Iran, such that bagisuula bagikole nga bakola Afghanistan bwe bakola Syria. And Iran should be very careful because they should get some lessons from Iraq. American people are, when their interests are threatened, they usually attack a particular country. So Iran naye erina okubeera nga yeegendereza. Abasajja abo kasita batandika okusimbula emmeeri zaabwe n'ennyonyi, baba ne mission nene nnyo. So kati awo nga tuvuddewo nga tuzeeyo ate era mu ddwaniro Ukraine awo ne Russia yeeyongedde okukyusa mu nnwana, drone zeeyongedde ez'omulembe, ensi nnyingi ziteddemu ssente. America yayongedde $2 billion US dollars nezuwa Ukraine, bongeremu okuwola ebyokulwanyisa, waliwo ne tanka zeetisse zeyagotera mu Europe, dispatching of some tank carriers batwalayo Europe, bagenda ku dispatching M1 tanks, some of the latest American tanks zireeta mu Europe, naye kyemmanyi bazireeta ku counteracting balance of power. Like I've told you before, that now there is a shift of power. There is a shift of the balance of power from the west to the east. Now, if you see the countries now are dominating the world superpower, some of them now are from Asia. There's Pakistan, you have got China, you have got North Korea, then you have the big man who is back now in the business. That is Russia now, the second superpower. The second superpower that many people thought it had gone to the dogs. Now the Russians are back in the business, and if you see, most African governments are now pro-East. They have gone back like it was in the 70s. Many countries have lost hope in the way the Americans and the Europeans do their things. The way they have done their things. If you look at slave trade, if you look at these slave farms in Virginia, how they were breeding people because of cotton, and the methods they used to treat people. I think people are trying to send a message to the Americans that we are moving to the East because of the way they do their things. So America is losing most of its credibility in the world to the Russians, because Russians do things differently, and they're genuine. They are genuine. They do things not the way the Americans do. If you look at the operations, more than 200 operations done by the Americans, the whole world, but most of them are cooked operations. So the Russians are arguing that for us, this is almost our second war outbreak after Afghanistan, but the Americans have been on different fronts. They were in Vietnam, and nobody's blaming them. For example, Putin is saying that you are taking me as a war criminal, and they have committed atrocities. How about those in Vietnam, Grenada? How about the killing of the Aborigines and the Maoris in Australia? How about the Red Indians in South America and North America, who wiped them out? It was the British. So his argument says, bwe muziraba omanya bumanya gwe muganda wange nti ekigambo si kyakusaagirako, emmundu eri awo si yakuggwa kati, naye nga n'omulashi agamba tajja kuva mu territory. Bongeddemu amaanyi mu byokulwanyisa ebyo, balwana kulaba nti tebakkiriza mu America kusetolinga mu Ukraine, kubanga obwambega bujja kuba buyitiridde. Bano baga kuteekawo base tulina Russia, kutandika kuteekawo bizingazinga byabwe nga America bwomumanyi n'okuyiikiriza alowooza nti omurasha. Naye Putin ali set, olutalo yalwetegekera, alina amaanyi agamala, era ng'eggwanga ensi yonna tidde ku bunkenke, ate nga olutalo luno luleetedde ensi. Actually, you people who are following us on our television channel, there is one thing I want to share with you, that the invasion of Ukraine by Russian forces was a turning stone to every country. Actually, it was an eye-opener to all European countries. Every country in Europe has revised its budget. Why? Because the power has shifted. Like I told you, you have India, you have Pakistan, you have Israel, you have Iran, you have Germany, you have France, but in Central Asia, you have Japan. Japan is now scared of China. Philippines is now scared of China. Taiwan is now scared of China. Why is Japan scared of China? During the Second World War, even before the Second World War, Japan was called the imperial aggressor of the world. There is a way these people were very, very dangerous to the way they humiliated the Koreans, the Filipinos, the rape of Nanking, when they raped women, these Japanese. Now it is like China is taking its revenge. So Japan revised its budget to up to $500 billion, rebuilding a powerful navy. Why? Because China might be revenging. For China to be a superpower near Japan, Japan should take care, because Japan refused to apologize for the atrocities they committed in the Second World War. And now China has the thing, is now a superpower. So some of these countries are scared. Germany mistreated Russians. Some of the Ukrainians mistreated Russians in the Second World War. I'll get you some of those that information. And now it's like payback time. You know, superpower, what are you saying? So China, I think, is showing those countries that you thought we would never make it. Now we have made it. And the Russians are back in the game. Now we are going back to the communist thing. Actually, the Cold War has started. Those countries that were pro-Russia have now gone back and they're celebrating. And that's why the Americans are trying to run helter-skelter. They are trying to run around the world, trying to bring back their colonies, trying to, to put back their air bases, missiles everywhere. But the Russians are back. Remember, the Russians are the best when it comes to manufacturing missiles. Gwe omulafu omulungi ka program kano njagala nkaweereze muganda wange Sion Hardway ogamba otya Mukono n'abali ku Governor Hotel. Mwebale nnyo kubeera nga mubeerawo nnyo. Governor Hotel eri Mukono akikoza wali bw'oba ogenda Erweza. Governor Hotel weeri awo ojja kugiraba. Eriko waggulu ekipande kyako ekiro kiriko Governor Hotel Limited. Nga gwe buli alina kyoyagala kyonna service za mulembe ova Bulaaya ova ludda wa wona gy'ovudde yagala kuwummulako. It is a hotel away from a home. Wotuula obwongo ne bukomawo n'owuga n'ogendako mu kamesaagi spa weekalyawo n'ogendako mu gym. Emmere ya mulembe nnyo, ebisulo birungi nnyo bya mulembe nnyo. Tewaliwo buzibu, security ya mulembe nnyo. Gwayagala okusoma ebitabo byo wifi biki, everything there. Osobola okuvisitinga ebitundu bya Uganda ebyenjawulo naddala ebitundu bya East ng'osinziira ku hotel yaffe eyo, Hotel Governor. Mobile diaspora. You guys in the diaspora, there's a very beautiful place. I'm telling you. In Mukono, Uganda, that place is called Hotel Governor Limited. When you reach Mukono town, even if you ask the border people, they'll direct you to Hotel Governor Limited off Chikoza Reza Road. Our services are just too good. A beautiful place, Wi-Fi 24 hours, beautiful security. The customer care is so good. The management is so caring. And our rooms are so magnificent. Everything beautiful. So if you're outside there and you want to really feel Ugandan food, Ugandan culture, Ugandan tourism, the place to be is Governor Hotel. CEO, Mr. and Mrs. Impobe, and those young directors, how are you? How is Sion Hardware? Thank you so much for adding value to our country. Webale nnyo. Nja kutumira era nga bulijjo headmaster wa Ministries, Mukono Municipality Primary Secondary Schools ne Mukono Main, mukyala Bet Akiyo headmaster Kirowooza ogamba otya American Height. Webale kuweereza ate webale byonna byokola. Abali ebbajjo RC headmaster Nakyagaba ogamba otya. Musitwa family yetu baagala nnyo. Webale kuweereza headmaster Mesa Kimugana ogamba otya. Haji Muyingo Setawumeya webale nnyo kuweereza lwakikubye ntuuseeka olwaleero ndabye ddala nga ekintu kitambula. Webale omutima ogwo omulungi. Ate ne taata wange Sheeka Mbogo ogamba otya muganda wange. Nkwagala nnyo webale enkulaakulana n'okuwa abavubuka emirimu ate n'okwagaliza. Webale kwagaliza nnyo. Ensi bwe bwefaanana erimu abantu abakyalina omutima ogwagaliza. Muganda wange Ssemuju Ibrahim ogamba otya erudda awo ekiwanga umeya webale kuweereza. Ate Haruna Batange Mukono Muslim Mukono boarding twagala nnyo. Susan Serunkumu ogamba otya webale nnyo. Ate mpozi ne mama wange wali mpozi mu Kigombi awo ogamba otya mukyala Nabisubi hali etindabira mukulu wange awo mwebale nnyo kubeera ku mukutu. Ate Nakateme Memorial tubaagala nnyo. Mwebale kukola nnyo bwe mutyo. First grade nyingi bwe zityo kyemukola gye kiri. Ate Mount Elijah tubaagala nnyo nammwe. Mwebale kubeera nga nammwe gye muli. Abali Ensamo tubaagala nnyo. Omutaka Kaduna muntu enkulaakulana eyo gwe oyagala ttaka oyagala wa kulima oyagala bizimbe gende wa mukulu Kusofa Kaddu awo ku mbuga. Ofune ettaka olingi ovudde Bulaaya oyagala kubeera nga ozimba ku makolero alina ettaka lingi nnyo tosobola ddi mu malaka alese enkulaakulana mu bitundu byaffe byonna mu Goma n'awala wonna wa mulembe nnyo nnyo. Abali ku BMI Matovu ogamba otya? Mukulu Kamoga, mukulu Martin mugamba mutya? Biri Kasawo essaawa yonna tujja mwe bannyo okuweereza nga njagala programu yange okusembyayo muganda wange Kenneth Semakula ogamba otya? Kenneth Electronics ndabira taata Kasawo awo ogwengo yagala electronics zonna gende wa muganda wange Kenneth Semakula. Ate Sharoman ogamba otya? Sharoman Investments bali kubeera nga naawe oweereza erudaawo. Richard Semwanga ogamba otya? Kabembe RC ate ne muganda wange wali mpoya ku kipya ku joint essaawa yonna tujja kusalako. Mubadde balabi balungi zibe essaawa 3 paka essaawa 4 ez'ekiro. Mbadde Kabisomba. You guys in the diaspora, thank you for viewing. Thank you for loving our channel. Please share the good news with the rest of the guys around there. I know some of you are just off to work, others are coming back to work. Please, I've been your host, Isaac Kabisomba Kagwa, broadcasting from Kampala, Uganda, and the television channel is AdonaiTv Seeta. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.